Every single day on every street, there are these hidden patterns in the chaos of traffic. And data, if you look at it in just the right way, it's like a key. It can unlock the secrets of what makes our roads so dangerous. So today, we're going to use that key to decode the subtle signals of high-risk driving. We're going to find out what really makes a driver suspicious.
So what is it? What truly flags a vehicle as a potential threat? Is it just about someone flooring it and breaking the speed limit? Or is there something, I don't know, deeper, more subtle at play? Well, that's the central question of our investigation today. And I gotta say, the answer might just surprise you.
All right, so our investigation is taking us to the city of Thiruvananthapuram. We're digging into two really important sets of data. First, there are the suspicious activity reports. These are observations logged by patrols on the ground. And second, we have detailed incident logs. You can think of these as our case files, the clues that are going to help us piece together this huge citywide puzzle of driver behavior. Now, here's what's so interesting. This data isn't just about tracking speeding tickets. No way. Observers are logging very specific, very high-risk patterns of behavior. We're talking about coordinated convoy movements, general dangerous driving, and maybe most importantly, that aggressive last-second overtaking. These are the behaviors that really signal a much higher level of threat. Okay, so we've identified our key behaviors. What's the next step in any good investigation? You've got to map out the scene, right? Where is all this happening? When is it most likely to go down? And which vehicles are the main culprits? Let's follow the clues and see what the map tells us. And wow, this really paints a picture of where all the risk is concentrated. The data points to some very specific hotspots. You've got places like the Aquilum Bridge, which is a natural choke point, and the super busy Technopark area. In fact, that whole NH66 bypass corridor, it's like the main artery for these incidents. This tells us these aren't just random occurrences. They are geographically focused. And here it is, our first major clue that just completely defies expectation. So when do you think the most dangerous driving happens? Morning rush hour, maybe? Or late at night? Well, the data says nope. The peak window for all this suspicious activity is actually right in the middle of the day, between noon and 5 p.m. It's those afternoon hours that are the real danger zone. This one reveals a really crucial distinction. See, while private cars and scooters are logged most often for suspicious behavior, they aren't actually the most dangerous. When it comes down to the incidents with the highest severity, we're talking about boxing other cars in, super aggressive maneuvers, the culprits are overwhelmingly commercial tipper trucks. So here's the key. Frequency does not always equal severity. So we've mapped out the where, the when, and the what. But now we get to the real heart of our investigation, the why. What is the single biggest indicator that observers use to flag a vehicle as suspicious? Well, the data points to something that goes beyond the machine itself. It points to the human factor. So let me just ask you, what do you think it is? Is it pure, reckless speed and crazy maneuvering that tips off an observer? Or is there another layer to this, something we might not immediately think of when it comes to dangerous driving? And here it is, the answer. The single biggest predictor of suspicion isn't how fast a car is going. It's not if it stops suddenly. It is, by far, the behavior of the driver and the passengers inside that vehicle. Their actions, how they're looking around, how they interact. That's the number one red flag. The hard numbers from the analysis make this crystal clear. Driver and passenger behavior has an important score of negative 0.80. Now, in this kind of analysis, a stronger negative number just means it's a much more significant factor. And just look at that. It's more than twice as influential as speed or making unusual stops. This tells us that observers are just hardwired to pick up on human intent way more than just a car's movements. This intense focus on human behavior leads us straight to a pattern that shows up again and again in the logs. Something called the convoy phenomenon. This isn't just one reckless driver acting alone. It's two or more vehicles moving together, in concert. They might be signaling to each other, escorting someone, or even tracking another vehicle. The point is, it's organized, and that's what makes it so suspicious. And check this out. This is a direct quote from an observer's log that just brings this whole thing to life. They noted one driver was constantly looking at a specific car, suggesting a signaling or escorting relationship. See, that's not just a traffic violation. That's coordinated action that you can actually see and feel on the road. So, what do we do with all these clues? An investigation is only useful if it leads to action, right?
So now we're going to look at how these data-driven insights can actually be translated into real-world strategies to make the streets safer for all of us. The recommendations really just flow logically from everything we found. First, you use targeted surveillance at those specific hotspots during those peak afternoon hours. Second, you train observers to specifically identify and track these convoy movements. Third, because of their high severity rating, you implement stricter regulations for heavy commercial vehicles. And finally, you enhance the reporting tools to better capture all the nuances of driver behavior. It all just makes sense.
And here is the number that basically proves the whole point. The data shows a 0.42 positive correlation between aggressive maneuvers and how severe an incident is perceived to be. To put it simply, the more aggressive the driving, the more dangerous everyone judges it to be. This is statistical proof that focusing on behaviors like dangerous overtaking is a direct path to reducing the most serious risks out there. So we've seen how data can pull back the curtain on these hidden patterns, pointing us to the right places, the right times, and even the right behaviors to watch. But it leaves us with one final, fascinating question. Data can show us the what, but can it ever really predict the why? Can an algorithm ever truly understand human intent? That's definitely something to think about.